The zero-day inevitability demands SBOM-driven response. Organizations that rely on manual searches during active zero-day incidents lose critical hours, while an SBOM-powered inventory enables single-query exposure assessment and focused remediation. The accelerating frequency of software supply chain attacks exemplified by Log4j, executils, and cups has rendered the question of if a zero-day will strike obsolete. The only remaining variable is organizational readiness.
When a vulnerability is disclosed, speed is the single determinant between containment and breach, yet most teams still default to ad hoc manual searches across sprawling codebases and runtime environments. This reactive approach wastes hours that attackers use to craft exploits.
An SBOM-powered response flips the paradigm by providing an immediately queryable, machine-readable inventory, transforming chaos into a structured, repeatable execution plan.
Why SBOM are the missing layer in incident response? The most popular SBOM use case is not developer shift left but security incident response, yet most organizations still treat SBOM as a compliance artifact rather than a tactical tool. The prevailing narrative positions software bills of materials as a preventive measure for supply chain security, but real-world adoption reveals a different truth. Incident responders derive the greatest value from SBOM during active zero-day events.
The status quo forces teams to manually grep file systems, consult package managers, and cross-reference vulnerability feeds, a process that can span hours per application. Meanwhile, an SBOM-powered inventory captures every dependency at build time and, critically, at runtime in production, enabling a single Cyclonix or SBDX query to answer "Are we affected?"
This shift from reactive hunting to proactive knowledge reduces mean time to know MTTK from hours to seconds. The underlying driver is the growing complexity of transitive dependencies, which makes manual inventory incomplete and error-prone.
The mechanics of an SBOM-powered zero-day drill. In the webinar, Josh Bressers and Brian Thomason demonstrate how generating runtime SBOM and querying them with a single command eliminates the friction of manual triage during high-pressure zero-day incidents. The analytical core of the argument rests on the contrast between manual and automated workflows.
A manual response to a Log4j-style incident typically requires a team to locate every GAR file, inspect MAV and POM files, and correlate with CVE feeds across dozens of microservices. This process is not only slow but also prone to missed instances.
An SBOM-powered approach flips this. At the moment of disclosure, the incident responder runs a single query against an aggregated SBOM database that includes both build time and runtime inventory generated by tools like Anchor's Sift and Gripe. The query immediately returns a list of affected services, versions, and even deployment contexts.
The webinar highlights that the same principle applies to cups and executils any zero-day where the vulnerable component is known. The key enabler is continuous SBOM generation, not just a one-time artifact.
The verdict: SBOM readiness is the new incident response baseline. Organizations that invest in automated SBOM generation and query infrastructure will reduce zero-day incident resolution time by orders of magnitude, turning a potential breach into a controlled patch cycle. The future of incident response will be defined not by how fast a team can patch, but by how quickly it can assess exposure across the entire software estate.
SBOM-powered response transforms the zero-day timeline. The first 10 minutes shift from frantic inventory to confident decision-making. Risks remain, however. SBOM must be kept current, runtime inventories must be synchronized with deployments, and query interfaces need to be accessible to non-developer responders.
The strategic next step is to embed SBOM generation into CI/CD pipelines and container orchestration platforms, then train incident response teams to treat the SBOM database as their primary triage tool. The alternative, continuing manual searches, is no longer a viable strategy in an era of inevitable 0 days.